Dragged Across Concrete is a crime drama, written and directed by S. Craig Zahler and starring Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn, Tory Kittles and Michael J. White. This was easily my most anticipated film at the Venice Film Festival, because I truly enjoyed Bomb Tomahawk 3 years ago, and I absolutely adore Brawl in Cellblock 99, which I also saw last year at the midnight screening. And this year again I saw this late at night at the premiere. It was exciting, and I have to say this is quite a different film from Brawl. I know that a lot of people went to the screening, they only saw Brawl in Subblock 99 and they were expecting pretty much almost a sequel, a repeat of that film. And the great thing about this is that it's completely different in so many ways. And a lot of people left disappointed. They were expecting once again for an action film, for extreme violence, for a lot of B-movie plots, and they didn't really get it. Even though there are a lot of elements that homage grindhouse cinema and films of the 70s, this is probably the most mature and most complete film by Zahler. And the first true improvement is visually. This film looks like a real movie. Even though I like how Brawl and Bomb Tomahawk look, they do have this weird, almost direct-to-video vibe to them, unfortunately, with the cinematography. But this one is much more polished. There is a higher contrast in the images, better use of shadows, of lighting, with some truly amazing shots, especially at night, which the film takes most place in. And the story itself it's almost an epic, almost a crime epic, and it follows mainly two stories that collide after a long-ass premise, which is also something that a lot of people didn't like but that they truly adored, because, as I've said, the beauty about Zahler is that he makes genre films, but rather than getting right into the nitty-gritty of the genre of what people expect, he builds up characters. And in this film we have a shit ton of them, with the main ones being Tory Kittles, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. And Tory Kittles is a black man just released from prison, and he goes back to a life of crime to pay off some debt and to help his family. And meanwhile you have Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. They are two cops. They got videotaped by a person while they were pretty much abusing a criminal. And I was expecting something extreme. When I read the premise I was like, okay, they're gonna fuck this man up. And they really don't. They do something that unfortunately we've seen a lot of times in the news, of police officers abusing their power while not necessarily like killing a person. And that's kind of the beauty of this film. There are a lot of social themes that are handled here, from police brutality to the power and influence of media, to how police work and how justice has changed in our lives, because after these two police officers are suspended, they decide to take justice into their own hands and to do a small job to pay off their immense payments, because they have no pay right now, so they need money. And that whole aspect is handled wonderfully. You do understand why these characters commit those crimes. And their relationship, the chemistry between Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson is fantastic. It's a truly great buddy cop movie in that aspect. Also Michael J. White and Tory Kittles are fantastic, especially Tory Kittles, an actor that I haven't really seen before in anything. He was a true revelation in this film, and he's pretty much the main character of the story, even though he isn't first top billed. But this film goes to some places that are extremely dark, while still maintaining the dark humor that we've come to expect from Zahler. And there are also some moments where you just don't know where the film is gonna go. For example, there is an entire subplot that kind of comes out of nowhere but later on makes sense, about Jennifer Carpenter, who plays someone who works at a bank, and she's just had a daughter and she was on maternity leave. And again, in the era of feminism, of women are strong, independent, Zahler has the balls to show that women can also be strong, independent, but also attached to their sons, to their daughters. And that's a beautiful thing. Like, why should a mother just say, ah, yes, I'm going back to the job, it's fantastic. No, she's also gonna say, I fell in love with my child and I don't want to leave him after months spent with him. So there are a lot of those interesting social themes that are handled with a lot of care and with a lot of time. And this film takes its sweet ass time. It's almost 2 hours and 40 minutes long, which is long, really, and I only started to feel the weight of and the length of the film at around the 2 hour and 25 minute mark, more or less. I was almost starting to fall asleep because it was late at night, which also is quite important to remember, and it was just really slow. But yet again, we have wonderful use of sound, almost no music at all. The only music comes from radios when people are traveling or working. And the sound design, excellent, the cinematography, great, and the violence is there. It's quite grotesque. There is just one scene that was incredibly disturbing and fucked up, which I loved. And the scenes of violence, I saw this film with some people who were not adjusted to Zahler's style, and they loved how it was implemented because it is sudden. It is violent, it is graphic, it is unexpected, and it is very dry, and it's shocking. It's genuinely shocking, as it would be probably in real life with some real-ass consequences. If someone shoots you in the hand, you're not gonna just have a small hole. You're probably gonna get your hand fucked up and maybe lose some fingers. And yes, it has the extreme violence that we come to expect, even though it's not as graphic or even gratuitous as it was in Brawl. And honestly, I have to say, while maybe I would consider Brawl in Subblock 99 a more entertaining film in terms of pacing, in terms of the action, Dragged Across Concrete is arguably Zahler's best film overall. It has the bigger themes, it has stronger characters, great, fantastic acting. It's always a joy to watch Mel Gibson on screen and Vince Vaughn as well. The music, again, he collaborates once again with those who made some songs with for the soundtrack of Brawl, and absolutely go watch this film. I was disappointed that this wasn't in competition. It was out of competition, but everyone that I saw this with said this was miles better than some of the shit fests and snooze fests that we saw in the Venice competitions. So guys, absolutely go watch Dragged Across Concrete. Be warned that, once again, it is violent, but it's not an action film, it is a drama. There are a lot of slow moments, a lot of character building, very little action, but when it happens, it's hard, it's fast, it's mean, and it is brutally realistic. So guys, absolutely go watch Dragged Across Concrete. But still guys, are you interested in this film, and which is your favorite S. Craig Zahler film? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.